Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. I'm continuing from the last video and I'm at the stage now I'm ready to get the floor fitted and welded in. But first I need to do some prep. So I decided to go for the rear part of the floor first, mainly because that's the side I'm not looking most forward to doing. It's bigger, it's less restricted at the back, so I thought if I can get this in what I'm happy with, it means I can then put the front in, which should be easier. So yeah, but I've got some prep to do here first with drilling some holes, removing some paint, so when it's in I can basically get it fixed in and just carry on with the plug welds and the spot welds. So I'm not going to rabbit on through this video, I'm going to stick a camera on, I'm going to do a time lapse and just let you see some of the stuff I'm doing for this part. Done all the prep on the floor, the rear part anyway, now it just needs to go in here. And it's in and fitting good. It's not secured in because I need to fit the rear closing bracket for the wheel arch first. So I need to get this out of the way, get the bracket in because it's easier fitting while the floor's out, and then I can finally get this floor in its final resting place. This closing bracket goes there. Now It normally gets spot welded along here, and onto the top of the heel board. If I tried to do it like this, I couldn't get into this part here with the spot welder. If the floor's out, look at how much access I have now. Closing panel is in, primed and seam sealed. So yeah, that's out the way. I can now look at getting the floor in, and basically I can get its final resting place. I've got this part of the floor exactly where I need it to be. I've got clamps in, I've got some bars cut to length that are pushing the floor down, I've got some screws in holding it into place. Yeah, I'm really happy where it is. The next stage for me is to basically cut from the underside along under here so that I can then butt the two pieces of metal together. Before I do any cutting, I'll get the front of the floor in to make sure that all lines up as well. Taken a bit of time today and got the front part of the floor lined up. Really pleased with the way it lines up. I've got the welding clamps all the way here, so it's perfect and spot on. Clamps up here, clamps all the way along here, and I've got a couple of screws at the front here holding it tight down. So yeah, I'm really pleased. It's tight all the way along the tunnel. What I need to do now is basically go along from underneath, get the angle grinder, get it in line with the two panels, and basically cut, so that I'm going to have this, hopefully, same seam here, and I can put some of these clamps in to get it held in place. I've got the excess floor cut off. I run out of clamps for the middle, so what I've done is I tack welded the two bits together. So this is lined up perfectly and tacked together. The welding clamps are all the way along. It went pretty good. There's a few bits that were awkward to get to because of where the angle was. So there's a section probably about 3 inches here that's wider than I would like, so I'll need to be careful that the welder doesn't blow holes in it. Another slight bit at the front, but the rest is fine. So yeah, I'm now at the stage where I can start getting the floor welded in. Tack it initially along here, probably a few plug welds at the back, the front, and I need to get the closing brackets and things off like that. So yeah, it's just a case of methodically going now and getting this floor welded in. It's a bit late to do anything tonight, so that'll be another day tomorrow for me. But yeah, good progress tonight. It was just a few hours work, and I'm glad this bit's done because now it's pretty much just welding. I've cut out everything I need to cut out, so progress. And I know I keep saying my tally, that's now 37 hours in. The floor seams are welded in, and I've got a couple of tack welds in where the flanges are and where it joins onto the heel board for now. I've not dressed it up at all, I've not done the pinpricks yet, so I'm going to have a little break just now. I'm quite tired, and then I'll come back and I'll basically put a light underneath, do all the pinpricks, get it dressed back so it's not looking as rough as this, and then I can start looking at things like the flanges, getting a bit tighter fit and other bits like boxing plates and things like that. So yeah, quite pleased with what I've got done this morning with a few hours work so far. I don't have much time today, so I thought I would just do what I could in the short time I've got, and that involves prepping the crossmember, or the half crossmember. So I don't want to remove all the paint. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the paint here, 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 here. What I mean is I'm going to drill the plug welds, and then I'm going to remove the paint from either side. I've marked on the floor its final resting place to make sure it's square. I've measured, it's 81 centimetres from the rear heel board to here, to here, and the same here. And I've also marked up here to cut along here so that it sits nicely for a join with the other side. Once the cross member's on, I'm not going to get access to here, so I've put a few layers of the paint on. Now water shouldn't be getting in here, but it's a mini so it will. So yeah, I want this to be protected. So basically all the bits that are getting welded I've got weld through primer on, all the bits that are not I've got paint on, and on the other side I've just taken the paint off where I'm going to be plug welding and seam welding and spot welding. So yeah, I'll take you to the car because I've done the same on the car, on the floor. Likewise on the car, I've just put some paint under here. I've basically masked it off so that the cross member can go over it. Everything else is seam sealed primed. So once I get this once I get this cross member back in, it'll give some more strength here, which means I can get rid of this brace bar and I can get into some of the more inaccessible plug welds. So yeah, just bit by bit. This bit I'm chipping in and out on a few days at a time because it just takes time for the paint to dry, the seam sealer to dry and come back, and it's not the warmest, it's taking a bit longer to dry. So yeah, slow process, but each time I do it I'm getting closer to a running car again. So just jumping in for another update, a few hours after the last footage. I have the cross member welded in place now, seam welded across to join on the other side, plug welded across the seams here, and where I could reach on the inner arch spot welded. That then meant I could get the brace bar away from here because it's got the strength back, and it meant I could have better access to the flange here. So this is now welded on, all in X primer, still needs tidied up a bit. I'll do all that at the end. I'm now going to focus on the flange on the arch here and the flange at the back, and it's just going to take time to get a good fit with the flange, good plug weld, dress it back and tidy it up. So I'm not going to cover that on camera. I'll jump back in once I've done that, and that'll be probably a good few hours work on that as well. So I needed to fit 6 mounting bolts, 3 for the exhaust heat shield and 3 for the fuel pipes. Now I was going to go underneath and weld something on, but I thought it's easier and more accessible from the top. So basically what I've done is I've used some 5mm stainless steel screws, drilled through. I've put a tack in here to stop the screw moving. This is it just been etch primed, and basically I'll seal copper grease underneath and it'll be watertight. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. This is going to have sound deadening over it, paint over it, so it's not going to look as sticky out as it is just now. But yeah, so I'm basically now at the stage where I can get this cleaned, sanded back, start getting the primer on, start getting the paint on, which I can't wait for that stage. So yeah, I'm going to buzz around with a small camera during the next couple of stages. Next time I speak to you guys, this will be painted green. Some might say, why are you painting it green when you're covering it up with sound deadening, carpet? I just want as much protection on here as it can. So yeah, a couple of layers of primer, epoxy primer, once it's clean, rubbed down, and then a couple of coats of green, and that'll be good. You've seen with the small camera there, the underside is painted with stone chip, and the top side is painted with 2 coats of epoxy and 2 coats of top coat, base coat, whatever you want to call it. So, to get into the next step, which is the door step, I had to put a brace bar up here and remove the one here, because otherwise I wasn't getting in with the panel I've got. So yeah, the brace bar's basically been moved further up, which has let me get into here. I've cut a bit more out here, shaped it so the panel is pretty much ready to trial fit. I'm not going to do any of that just now because the paint's drying, and I've made that mistake before, just keen getting on, grinding, and before you know it your new paint's ruined. So what I can do while I'm waiting on this is prepare some of the other panels to go in here, just the bits that are needing painted underneath, taking off the paint where the welds are going to be, etc, things like that. So yeah, I'll go and do that off camera. I'm nearly finished the floor now. The only thing I really need to do with the floor once the paint's dry, and I will need to let it dry a few days, is the underside I'll be given wax oil underbody seal, so it matches the other side, and the top coat here I've got sound deadening to go on, and then that's pretty much the floor done. It just then leads me on to the doorstep and the outer sill. But yeah, quite a bit of good progress today. It just takes a bit of time, this bit, because you need to wait on things drying before you can do the next step, but yeah, getting there slowly. This takes me to 50 hours of my time to this stage here, but I'm really pleased with it, really pleased with how it's turned out. I've still got a bit to go, because I need to then, once I've done this, check other areas to make sure that nothing's going to creep up and bite me on the MOT. So yeah, I'll keep going. The floor is in. It's all finished. I've to do a few bits and pieces here. I'm just waiting on paint drying before I can put the fuel pipe clip on and the exhaust heat shield and things like that. It'll take a few days to dry, but yeah, really happy with it. It took way longer than what I thought with the repairs, all the problems I encountered along the way, but yeah, I got there. So yeah, it's an end to the floor repairs, that one for me. As you can see next to me, I've got the doorstep and the outer sill all mucked up, as well as all the brackets inside. But that's another day. That's the next step for me. In terms of the floor, I'm quite happy with this side repaired and ready to go. So I'm going to end that one there. I'll say thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!